What's it called when one race rules a nation or many nations? I was looking this up. Like someone said, called America a capitalist nation, attacking it. And it's like, this is not capitalism. Like, capitalism is where you have a choice. And it's not where you have one race enslaving you and forcing you to buy products from them and banning other races from selling their products to you, like America does. And the West is the rest. So it's not. I typed it in and it comes up with like feudalism, monarchy, where like your ruler is that one race and it's one person. Whereas in America, they own everything down in local stores, and it's pretty much the president. You might as well consider the local store owner the same person as the president, and the uh, mili- military commanders usually don't look like them. I think they have to hire someone else to do killing for some reason. Um, probably Probably has to do with that karma thing. As psychotic as they are, I mean, I know people who showed me horror porn, torture porn way before Saul came out. That stuff's like old. Saul was so boring because Saul was the only one with any story, but I already had friends trying to show me that stuff, and it's like, yeah, well, and they talked to me about killing animals and stuff, so I'm pretty sure they don't actually care about killing things. It's just why put yourself in harm's way when it's other people, and why don't they lead the military themselves if that would be easier? Um, I don't know. Maybe it would look obvious if they own 100% of things instead of 99% of things, but and then I could be wrong too, because the bug-eyed blondes and shit, maybe they're just a little more reptilian-eyed, the commanders of USA. Um, and I'm just not seeing that. Although, pretty sure I analyzed that enough to think that they're not related. But anyways, yeah. So, what is that called? Isn't that odd? There's no word for when one race rules a nation. After a nation of Nazis told me how bad Nazis were, and we should never let that happen. They all these words they invented to defame someone who looks like their aunts, uncles, cousins, and children, named Hitler and Goebbels. And Zelensky admits he's one of them, and he's running the Nazi regiment there. Um, they've never come up with a word you're allowed to use. Now, that's odd, right? Because it's so important in the last century to understand that there's races out here who are enslaving the planet for their own race benefit, right? And they're the master race or whatever, they're God's chosen, whatever they want to call themselves. I mean, this is literally like one third of politics. It's like everything. It's like 1/6 of history. If you're smart enough, if you're brainwashed by everything you hear about. Oh, we freed ourselves from them dumb brown people and colonized the place and all this stuff, which is like, you know, yeah, we were kicked out of our nation, and then they forced us on ships, and then so where we landed next, we just killed everyone and took their land and created more of the empire with it. But we're not friends with them because they sent us out of their nation. hmm That just as God sent them out of their nation 6,000 years ago when this stuff started. God sent the slaves who somehow wrote history from Egypt to the rest of the world. He kicked them out. I mean, this we can already figure this one out real fast. He kicked them out because And then someday they'll go back. But for now, he's punishing them by kicking them out and making them take over and control and own everything else and live real high and mighty, tons of cocaine and money. I mean, literally, they print the money and prostitution. They own the drug trade and they own the porn and they own. Now you don't even have to own a porn industry. You can just hire a girl to come on your radio show and have sex so people can hear it, and that's not prostitution. It definitely isn't, but it would be if you did it, if you're not their race and not on board with them. But anyways, so there is no definition of a race. It's not fascism. That's when the government controls it. It doesn't say the government's one race. When one race, and that doesn't mean the government doesn't even need to exist with them because they live next to you. They've raped your mom. They've raped your dad. Something like that. And they sit next to you, possibly. So, they don't even need the government, so it really doesn't matter. They don't even have a word for it. And this is another one of these little things you can see. Generally, when you get to the bottom of trying to describe with the proper literary terms what these wannabe alien NPCs on the planet are doing, they've always hijacked it. Everything's either hijacked or it's not allowed. It's just, for some reason, it's not made up. Like there's no law, even though space and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer coexist together peacefully, and you need to give them $40 trillion every century to get on TV and tell you you're going to go to the moon one day. Even though those exist, what happens? Well, nothing, obviously. They do not have laws saying anything about aliens. Oh my God, like if space were real, these people are like genocidal terrorist maniacs who are like trying to kill everyone in the world. And I mean, they're passing laws so you can't buy anything that's not from Israel. They hate yellow people, they hate brown people, they hate Irish people, they tried to kill pretty much everyone and enslave them at one point in time or another. And there's no law on the book. There's a law saying you can't buy stuff from Asian people, but there's no laws, and there's laws saying people can't like invade your borders, but there's no laws saying actual aliens, like maybe Santa Claus has some enemies up there with Elon Musk and his family's spaceships. They're floating around and not a single law in the book about what to do, how to punish anything if there's non-humans on the planet. You know, let's say some android race or an alien race came to Earth and was enslaving them for hundreds or thousands of years, and then one day someone caught on to that. There's no law to punish them. Well, we can always. The answer is always the same thing. It's their legal system. It's not living beings' legal system. It's theirs. You know, it's not Earthlings' living system. So it really doesn't. You know, it's not going to apply. Just like their laws don't apply to me. They can. You know, they've been railroading me my whole life and trying to kill me. I can do the same thing to them. I don't give a shit about their laws. And kind of like, in a few years, I think we're going to start talking about things that have been happening. But right now, I'm just not going to talk about it and see how things play out. Because, I mean, shit's been changing. So, that's a good thing. And no one sees it. And I think I'm being told that's a really good thing, too. Like, I'm not supposed to be running my mouth about things as they change. But it's like, I don't even think they're smart enough to, like, I mean, come on, can't we just erase their fucking memories after we tell them? Be like, yeah, you know, you're about to die this way and that way, and don't you see this happening outside? Isn't that weird? And then, I mean, what are they going to do? Like, band together and do something? They can't even stop a corporation from robbing them. Um, and then why not just do the whole thing after COVID? You just be like, oh, you forgot it existed, didn't you? Like, I mean, we're not going to play the game by the old rules ever again, right? We're either going to play it with the new rules. We never could play by the old rules because the little evil bots and shit prevent. Apparently, they think I'm God, and they're like trying to hide me. And they're like, if you're God, why would you want anyone to know? It's like, you mean you don't want people to know because you're scared, right? So yeah. Anyways, so there's no rule. There's no word for that. There's no law for alien races coming down and enslaving your planet. You know, like should aliens even be allowed on the planet? No. I think from what we've seen's been going on, no. No. They full disclosure or they can't enter. They're considered fucking hostile because we've already seen what they do when they come here. And that's every problem on the planet happening right now is what they do when they come here. Because they are everything. They're the presidents of all these nations. There's Zelensky, they took over Russia, and they're obviously Biden and Trump. Real easy to see. Just put their pictures together. Except for Putin, you gotta look at Russia's history and then look at their media, and it's like, oh, it's literally the same people and stuff who run Rothschild. They say it's Rothschild, AP, Associated Press. It's like, well, why is Russia posting the same stuff? It's more than one 6-member family controlling things, but they wouldn't want you to know that, right? 6 people don't control the Earth. There's a hell of a lot of low-end people, not in the government, who apparently they go out here dressed as crackheads and stuff to try to hurt and maim people. Probably live a lifestyle like that too, just to try to fit in. I know I've been around people who obviously were cops in the past, and they're like, nowadays they're like smoking meth and like psychotic and have long hair and hanging out with me, and they spend a lot of time living outside of the rich upper class. Kind of owning a house is rich upper class, so. But you know, like living like a scrub lifestyle. Obviously, dude was like really used to smoking meth. He was like trying to get me to smoke it all the time. So you don't have, in order to work for the president, you don't have to, you know, put on a suit and go on TV and give a speech. You might actually work down the road at the hospital and sacrifice children's genitals for them instead. I might argue Epstein and his little crew have more power than the president. Obviously they do. He's just a puppet. The president's a puppet, and Epstein has them on tape with little children to control them. So the global nation can control them. But anyways, yeah, so there's no word for that. And this is one of these things you see when you know, you know, like when you look up the vernacular that would be specific to explain what's happening on Earth, like illegal aliens are on the planet. It's already hijacked. And in the case of the word illegal alien, there is literally nothing there to describe what you do if literal illegal aliens come down from the sky and stuff and enslave the planet and kill people, rape their children, whatever, sacrifice their children to their selves as gods. So I think this is one of these things. Why is there no definition to what it's called when a nation is ruled by one race? I thought this is the only thing that's happened in history, in politics of any value. America's so racist. It's those 8 foot tall, blonde haired, blue eyed Swedish people like Howard Stern who, yeah, and Donald Trump with his blonde wig, and Joe Biden with his gray hair, you know, and 8 foot tall blonde people. That's what they told me. They've been enslaving everyone since they were the Italians. If you didn't know that, Italians always are 8 foot tall and have blonde hair. Remember the Romans all were 8 foot tall and had blonde hair, and they were Nazis. But today, apparently, Rome was liberated. You go to Italy, and their palaces of gold, literal palaces of gold the Pope lives in, definitely don't have no blonde hair, and definitely look like deformed mutants, and definitely not 8 foot tall either. That's part of deformity, is being smashed like Stephen Hawking. You know, he got smashed into a box. The game wouldn't want to create the bad guys as like actual powerful people that not be much chance, you would think, to try to fight something like that. Although it's giving them steroids and meth, and their people have grown to like 2, 3 times the size of humans. The aliens have definitely been injecting the humans with drugs to make their soldiers, at least. That's their soldiers they use to fight the Steel Land in the Middle East and from Russia and from Africa and from everywhere else. So they get that benefit, you know. But anyways, yeah. I mean, that's clear. We got an alien race geoengineering besides all the other obvious things and stuff that that the humans no longer look like humans in America. They've never looked like humans, but they look like people here are like 2 to 3 times the size of humans because they're fucking they're biologically engineered to look that way. And I'm off topic. There's no word for this. Of course there isn't. Of course there isn't, because it's either going to be a word that's already taken and applied to someone else, like Nazi is. When you say the word Nazi, we're thinking of 8 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyed people. Never even met one, except for 1 or 2 girls or something, maybe. I don't think I'm allowed to meet them because I've got that one race in my life forcing me to have sex with them and be friends with them only. So I don't think I'm allowed to be around anyone who looks good or who has anything intelligent to say. I shouldn't say that specifically. I mean, literally, I hang out with people who work with Donald Trump, probably the smartest people on the planet can offer, right? And scientists and shit like that have been like close to me, stuff like that. But ignorance isn't always fucking. I can't do 2 plus 2. If I go around telling fart jokes and I can fucking pass 12th grade calculus, then I'm still pretty ignorant. If I'm going around telling fart jokes by the time I get past 12th grade calculus. So means part of my brain is fucking left in the caveman days. That's for sure. Certain functions of it just never evolved. That's the monkey in me. Not that I really have that issue, but this is not created, so that's and that's what's going on. Like, how do you describe what's going on if they wouldn't allow a definition of the word? Obviously, they own the book printing presses, which would be the dictionary printing presses. And obviously, they own the English nations, and obviously, they're always bragging they created writing itself. I mean, the Bible they're using to brainwash people. They brag that's where they taught it. Like, they literally invented writing to brainwash motherfuckers. Probably starting with Egyptian days. Although, who knows what that stuff really says, but they tell us it translates, there was a bird god. And, well, I mean, when you get the people introducing literacy and in the media talking about stupid stuff like pictures of a person with a bird mask on, but they want you to think that their race is gods instead of a person with a mask on. Fauci. Boy, how accurate is that? The gods, the wannabe gods wearing the masks. Fucking. Yeah, so then they can use that language and media control they have to try to convince morons that there was once a half bird god on the planet. And really, it takes half a second. You just look at the pictures and they were saying someone sat around wearing a mask of a bird. And they worship that person. So, there you go. That's what happens when you create and control languages. You can omit things. You can have truth, peace, just us. Like they brag about that shit too. And just us. And then what symbols do those people use? What's it called? It's called the judicial system, just us. And they use their gang signs too. Like, that's what happens when they own and create the languages and stuff, apparently. They just laugh at everyone like they're ignorant and spit all over them. It should be easy enough. Wait, what should this word be called? I got an idea. Let's call it a word that already exists, that is the people doing it, that we're not allowed to say. That's a good idea, though. Think of it. Called whatism. Let's just call it, when one race owns a nation or a group of nations, it's called whatism. Whatism is it called? I don't know. I can't say it because whatism owns the media and owns the brains of a lot of bots. They own a lot of bots out here, terror bots they have as their soldiers, like those geoengineered mutants they have working for them. I'm pretty sure not all of them are human. In fact, that might not even be very human to be able to grow like that. I'm not too sure on that one. I haven't fully tested that, although I have grown quite a bit sometimes. Definitely took the geoengineering to do it. And then after we create the word that describes the system of ruling where one race runs a nation, from the politicians down to the local food place, we still need to work on creating the word that defines what it is when an alien race comes to your planet and owns the entire planet. We've got to figure that one out too. What should that one be called? We could probably just, make it legal to say their names again and just use their names for it. I think that's why they make it illegal to say their names, because that's exactly what it implies once you figure it out. So